settled himself onto the sofa, the remote control poised for action in his hand.
"Someone about the flat,"
Smith replied from the kitchen.
"A girl. She's on her way over now. She sounded nice."
He kicked the door of the dishwasher closed.
"Her name's Jem."
Jem took the first turning off Battersea Rise, which brought her into Alamanac Road, a small sweep of 3-storey Edwardian houses, long and thin, with basements, unusual for this part of South London. As she walked down the road, peering nosily into uncurtained basement flats, she began to feel strangely like she had been here before. There was something familiar about the proportions, the width of the pavement, the colour of the bricks, and the spacing between the weedy saplings that lined the road. Jem stopped outside number 31, and the feeling of familiarity increased further. She suddenly felt safe, like a child coming home after a tiring day out, to a warm house and Saturday afternoon television. Jem glanced down into the basement flat and saw a young man, his back to the window, talking to someone out of view. It was then that she knew she had been here before. Maybe not this exact place, but somewhere very similar. In her dreams, since she was a teenager, a basement flat in a tall house in a terrace, a view through the window at night, the room lit up, a man on a sofa smoking a cigarette whose face she couldn't see. Her destiny. Was this him? Jem rang the doorbell. Chapter 1. The girl standing in the doorway was tiny, about 5'2", black curly hair held on top of her head with pins and clips in some complicated but very feminine style that looked as if it should have sported ivy wreaths. She was post-coitally pretty, with cherry-red cheeks and a bittersweet mouth, the bottom lip drawn back very slightly under the top, and her eyes were bright and mustardy, framed by mascaraed lashes and faint but lively eyebrows. She should have been wearing wood nymph muslins and lacy leather sandals, but instead had on an equally beguiling soft flannel suit with fur at the collar and cuffs, and a short skirt that would have looked obvious on a taller woman. The tip of her nose was winsomely pink. Smith let Jem walk in front of him down the hall, watching her as she turned her head this way and that, examining the pictures on the walls, peering through half-open doors and patting tabletops as she went. She was definitely cute. She turned to Smith. "This is lovely. Really, really lovely." She smiled widely and suddenly turned to face the wall, grabbing the top of the radiator with both hands and letting out a sigh of relief. "Sorry," she laughed. "My hands are freezing, like blocks of ice. Feel." She made her small white hands into fists and placed one on each of Smith's cheeks. "It's so cold out there." Smith started and felt suddenly shy. "Shall we go to the kitchen? I'd love a cup of tea."
"It's just through the living room,"
offered Smith, attempting to overtake her. "Oh, yes, I know where the kitchen is. I saw it through the window. Outside." She laughed again. "Sorry, I'm really nosy, and I've seen so many horrible flats tonight. I don't think I could have faced coming in here if it hadn't looked nice." They walked into the kitchen.
"My flatmate's around somewhere,"
said Smith, filling the kettle.
"He's probably in his room. He's called Ralph. I'll take you to meet him when the tea's done."
Jem was examining a rack of herbs and spices. The plastic lids of the jars were covered in a layer of greasy dust. All of them were full. "Do you and Ralph ever cook?" she asked. Smith laughed.
I think this speaks for itself."
He opened the door of the fridge to reveal shelves.